Hello, my name's Allison McCoppin, and welcome to the Middle School Science presentation. I am the Middle School Science Department leader, and I'm happy to have you with me today. I thought that since you aren't able to join us in person, that I would show you my 7th grade classroom, which is very similar to the other science classrooms and all of the classrooms here in the middle school. So we each have a projector, which we use for our classroom students, as well as a great use for our virtual students. So I'm going to spin the camera around so you can see the room a little better. And you might notice that things are decorated for Halloween. Well, I absolutely love Halloween. And at this time of year in 7th grade science, we are studying atomic excitation, states of matter, and phase changes. So it's just really fun to cover those topics in a way that excites our young students by using dry ice, for example, and the plasma globes, the making slime, and just having lots of fun while we're learning important science concepts too. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of what a classroom might look like, but also that we like to have fun here at Carey Academy. So I'm going to switch the camera so you can see my presentation a little better. Unplug this first and bring the screen here. There we go. That's the other camera. And you can see typically I have it decorated as a spaceship, which was underneath some of the Halloween decorations you might have seen. And the reason for that is that our theme in 7th grade science is Spaceship Earth. So just going to share our screen here so you can see this a little better. So this is an important quote that we adhere to throughout our 7th grade journey. There are no passengers on Spaceship Earth. We are all crew. So we did a curriculum renewal fairly recently, and we decided to incorporate an environmental science theme throughout our middle school science program. So even though this is our quote that we talk about mostly in 7th grade, we do have this idea of being important stewards of our planet Earth throughout our middle school program. All right, there we go. So as I said, my name's Allison McCoppin. I am the middle school science department leader, 7th grade science teacher, and I also teach an elective class called Advances in Medical Technology program. And along with Mr. Haas over here, I co-lead the Green Club. This is our other outstanding faculty. Andrew Caraviglio is our 8th grade science teacher and also teaches algebra, as well as leads the aviation club. And Fred Haas teaches 6th and 7th grade science. He's our robotics club leader, and as I said, helps me with the Green Club. Danae Ship is 6th grade science, as well as 6th grade team leader. At Carey Academy, we have teams of different discipline teachers, and we work together to make sure that we have cross-curricular activity as well as planning whole grade activities. And our newest member to our team is Megan Polson. She joined us this year, and she's an 8th grade science teacher. So with our middle school science program, we have 6 beliefs that we try to impart to our science students. First of all, we want them to recognize that science doesn't just happen in the 4 walls of the science classroom or in a science lab. It's around them all the time. So we'll get out in nature, but we want them to understand that science is universal. It's important because it's touching all aspects of our lives. So for example, there's chemical reactions happening within our bodies right now. And we use physics concepts when we play sports or when we play our instruments. Next, we like students to understand that science is interconnected. So you may have taken classes in biology or physics or chemistry, and we have those in the upper school, but in the middle school, we like to take parts of each of those disciplines when needed and weave them into our overall themes. This actually reflects what happens in real life science too. Scientists will borrow from each other's specific content areas or subject areas to do their research. Not only that, they also are incorporating technology and engineering, so that is what we do with our curriculum here at Carey Academy too. Next, we want students to understand that science is a great career that they could have, and there's many different areas of science in which they could have a career. And if they don't choose having a science career in the future, we want them to be able to understand science well, so that if an environmental science policy comes up, for example, that they might vote on, they would have a good understanding of what was actually being proposed. And if they are making their everyday decisions about their own lives, we want them to make decisions that would help our planet Earth be sustainable. Next, we'd like students to learn by doing. And sometimes that might mean doing something they're not comfortable with. So we try to impart this growth mindset. So it's going to be a little messy. They're not going to get it right away. And you know what? Many great scientific discoveries have been due to scientific experiments not turning out exactly how the scientists had planned. So we use that as a role model, and we help them to understand that it's okay to make mistakes. You learn from your mistakes, you learn what you need to do better at, what to practice, what to get help with, and how to persevere, and then work through and around those obstacles that they're facing. We want our students to be great problem solvers, how to ask good scientific questions, how to conduct research, how to understand research, how to design experiments, and then how to come up with solutions to their problems. And last but not least, I hope you got an idea that we like science to be fun. So we use a variety of activities in and out of the classroom, including experiments, online simulations, research, field experiences, and citizen science. So again, to give you a little idea of some fun, I start every one of my classes with a joke. So this was from a few weeks back when we were doing atomic structure. So the joke was, what did the proton say to the electron? You might remember protons are positive charges in the nucleus of an atom, and electrons are negative charges in the electron cloud outside of the atom. So you may remember that opposite charges attract, or that opposites attract. We talk about that in everyday life. So what did the proton say to the electron? I'm so attracted to you. So this is kind of corny, but it helps students remember. Often they kind of cringe, that opposite charges attract. So here are our themes for each of the grades, and then also the area where we focus as far as how humans are impacting our planet Earth. So sixth grade theme is looking at the dynamic Earth, and they focus on North Carolina species because we have an understanding that young children are interested in animals, so we try to hook them with their interest. And since they're talking about the Earth, they look at solid waste pollution. Seventh grade, again, is Spaceship Earth. We look at energy usage and air pollution. And eighth grade is the Water Planet, and they focus on how humans are impacting marine species and how we are leading to water pollution or contributing to water pollution. So a little closer look at the sixth grade curriculum, some of the units that they cover. So the first one is called Everyday Science, which looks at the quest model of inquiry, which is a more age-appropriate way of presenting the scientific method. They do some nature journaling and actually get involved with citizen science. So the first part of the year, they're getting good science skills developed, making observations, measurements, how to conduct research, how to form scientific questions, and then starting to employ some of those skills. Another unit they cover is ecosystems and the importance of biodiversity. So for example, for that, they look at the interactions and relationships between organisms and their environment, and they have to figure out how human activities and natural events can cause changes to ecosystems. So they might look at things like predator-prey relationships, food chain, food webs, etc. Another unit is the geologic Earth system. In this system, they're looking at the characteristics of systems, and they're trying to understand how energy and matter exchanges drive and change the geological Earth system over time. So some key concepts for this unit are Pangea. They look into the Earth's layers and convection in the mantle, plate tectonics, and earthquakes. And since their focus is on the Earth, again, they're looking at land pollution and solid waste management. So they look at how solid waste is created, where it goes, and how we can reduce it. So here are some examples of sixth grade activities. This is their nature journals. And again, purpose of doing nature journals is for them to be able to record responses to and reflections about the world of nature around them. So we want them to get out and be actively engaged with the world of nature around them, to have some opportunity to hone their observation skills. And honestly, it's a great way for them to get a little stress relief. Here's another example of some sixth grade activities, field experience at Umstead Park. Here they're doing some soil sampling and analysis. There's another station where they do some water ecology. Another one looks at animal tracking. And then finally, another station where they're looking at mathematical patterns in nature. On the right, we have a couple examples of citizen science opportunities. So we want even middle schoolers to realize that they can participate in real scientific research. So we get them involved. One way they can do this is that they can share and contribute to data monitoring and collection programs. So example up top there is iNaturalist. So students make observations of the biodiversity in their neighborhoods. And Zooniverse allows students to classify photographs from other real life experiments and also help analyze data from those experiences. So as you know, things have been a little different in 2020, and we've had to adjust and make some enhancements with that, especially when students are virtual. So one way we're doing this, sixth grade has done this, is with some online simulations. So in this particular example, students created a claim and then used this as a gizmo simulation to get evidence to back up their claim. So this example is showing a food chain, and you can see that they were testing what would happen if they removed snakes from the food chain, and they can see what effect that would have on the other components of this ecosystem. Another example is this landfill challenge project. So this is something sixth grade has always done, but typically it's been done in class with everybody using the same materials. Well, last spring we were at home, so they had to use whatever they had around them. And actually it led to a lot of creativity and a lot of ingenuity in what they came up with and a lot of variability, which was very exciting. So in this project, they design and build model landfills using materials like materials that real engineers would use for their full-scale landfills. So they did research on landfills, and then they constructed their model and created a video to showcase their model. So I'm just going to play a little bit of this sixth grade student's model. And let me just stop sharing for a moment and make sure that I have it set up for the best sound for video. It's a little different. Here we go. Okay. So his model was actually an underground.
Look at this. This is a 3D model that I built. As you can see, it is underground. And I built it with intricate layers.
Okay, and a little later here, he's describing the different layers.
There is compacted clay. As you may know, clay is water resistant, meaning water can't go through it. This is why it's put into the landfill, to make sure any dirty water that comes from the tree.
All right, so a great example of how they're applying what they're learning in the classroom. So on to seventh grade, and again, our theme is Spaceship Earth. So we have a series of questions that guide us through our theme, and I'm just noticing that it's not showing me, so I'm going to try this again. And hopefully we'll get apologize here. When I shared the video, it changed how it's sharing. Let me try this one more time. Stop share. Okay, let's try sharing again here. Alrighty, so seventh grade theme, these are the questions that are guiding us along our journey. How is Earth like a spaceship? So we look at how the world is providing us with everything that we need to survive, just like a spaceship provides its crew with everything that it needs to survive. how did the Earth develop? So we go right back to the beginning with the Big Bang, all the way through matter being formed, stars, galaxies, our sun and solar system, and finally Earth. How does our planetary life support system work? So we look at topics like habitable zone, energy, liquid water, and as Earth's atmosphere is critical in providing humans with several requirements for life, for example, giving us oxygen, protecting us from radiation, and helping provide Earth with a moderate temperature, we delve a little deeper into the atmosphere, its composition, and roles of its layers. Then we're again looking at what we as humans are doing. And specifically, we're focusing on the Earth's atmosphere for 7th grade. So we'll look at greenhouse effect, global warming, ozone depletion, ground level ozone, air quality, etc. How can we be better stewards to help sustain Earth's atmosphere? So again, focusing on how we were all crew, our motto. So we look at traditional and alternative energy sources, personal electricity consumption, nutrient recycling, and carbon footprint. And then finally, what if we made Earth so that we couldn't live here any longer? What other options do we have? So we simulate what NASA's doing with its rover missions and what they're planning for a future human mission to Mars with our own human mission to Mars, which we call M2M simulation. So here are some samples of 7th grade science activities. So tying in with our theme of Spaceship Earth, we start with students making a crew ID badge so we can learn a little bit about each other and also what they might be interested in doing in the future. Here we have some examples of students' atmosphere models, and we like to give a lot of choice to students about how they present their knowledge at Carey Academy. So this student made a cake looking at the different layers and the roles of those different layers of the atmosphere. And here the student made a diorama using a grapefruit as their Earth. As part of our mission to Mars, students learned about the different stages of rocket flight simulation. And we also build in a little coding with, this is a click and drag coding program called Scratch. And so this student has made a program that will play this little animation. So everything from making the rocket to the backdrop to how the rocket moves through the animation and then describing the physics behind the different stages of flight. I'm just going to scoot ahead a little bit here so that we can see part of this. So here they've explained the different physics involved with this powered flight stage. Give it to play. There we go. So again, they've written this code, and this one's actually very realistic, went above and beyond the expectations. But that kind of gives you an idea. So again, giving students an opportunity to experience some simple coding while demonstrating their knowledge about the stages of rocket flight. Other 7th grade science activity examples. So part of our mission, again, every student will build a rocket and use their math, their trigonometry to figure out how high it flew or its apogee. Here we have a little engineering design challenge where students have built a lander. So this is entry, descent, and landing collaboration challenge for their Mars rover, which is a raw egg. So some of you may have done an egg drop challenge. We've just modified this to meet our Mars mission theme. So they will design and redesign and test. We drop it out of the top floor window of our middle school, and they get points for how well their lander protects their rover, their raw egg, how close they land to the target, and then how well they explain the physics behind their design as well. Here's another 7th grade science activities. They'll program, these are Lego Mindstorm robots to maneuver a Mars landscape. So again, another click and drag programming, coding software, and they will either program it directly or use sensors. I'll play this to give you a little idea. And we have more advanced robotics with our middle school robotics club. So again, being at home or having virtual only students or giving us some ways to be more creative. So this is student who created a pop-up book on air pollution. And one thing that we've tried to do when they're at home is try to get them off the screens, as obviously they're spending a lot of time. So when possible, trying to do some projects where they're using other materials. This is a Rube Goldberg design to look at characteristics of a system. And this one was developed to crack open a hard-boiled egg. Another opportunity our 7th grade students have is the Advances in Medical Technology program, the elective class I teach. It's only a 1 trimester long class in 7th grade. And we do a lot of hands-on experimentation, real life experiences, focusing on cardiovascular health, disease, and treatment. So here are some sample activities from that program. Again, they've used Lego Mindstorm robots, and these are actually robotics students who have built these. This is like a robotic hand, and we're using a marker as a simulation of a scalpel and performing surgery on our bored patient here. We teach students how to do blood pressure, and they run a clinic at our grandparents' day every year. We do dissection of pig hearts to see up close what is happening with the heart and the blood flow through the heart. Lots of off-campus opportunities as well. We have a alum parent who works as a nurse on the Air Care Flight Center helicopters over at UNC. So we get to go and check those out. Don't get to fly them, unfortunately, but see how the medical equipment works on board and hear about those types of careers. While we're at UNC, we often will go to the patient sim lab too, where they have infants and babies and adult simulators where you can hear their heart sounds, take blood pressure measurements, heart rates, give them anesthesia, and really a great opportunity. People come from all over the nation to travel and train there. And then we've also gone over to Wake Med. Here you can see a student who is actually practicing putting in a catheter into the brain and then would place a stent. We've also done that with a heart catheter simulator as well. So lots of great opportunities there. Now I'd like to move on to our 8th grade science, and their theme is water. So in the 8th grade, with the water unit, they obviously are going to look at the properties of water, water cycle processes, potable water. They do a field study on water quality, and they also study carbon and nitrogen cycles. With their oceans unit, they're looking at density and currents, topography of the ocean floor, marine ecosystems, and food chains. And in forces, work, and energy, again, these are some sample units. They would look at topics such as forces of water transportation. They have a boat design project I'll show you momentarily. Forms of energy, energy transformation of living and non-living systems. Other units, human body system. So we are mostly made out of water, and that ties in with our water theme in the 8th grade. So they'll look at the structure and function of respiratory, circulatory, digestive systems, as well as cellular respiration, and then focusing on our own nutrition and health as well. Healthy sexuality is a short 2-week unit that's taught in collaboration with our middle school counselor. So the focus here is not so much on the biology, but more on helping students make healthy choices with respect to their sexuality and how to be strong with their decisions and be able to stand up to peer pressure, etc. And then just like the other grades, we have a focus on stewardship and sustainability in 8th grade, focusing on water pollution, water usage, and energy usage. So here are some sample 8th grade science activities with different modalities to help meet the needs of our diverse learners. So first one, they're looking at some marine organisms that they have collected at a nearby pond. Again, another dissection, this time of a fetal pig, looking at the different body systems that we share as mammals. Here they have created a whole mural for their classroom, looking at the different layers of the ocean and the different species in these layers. The bottom 3 pictures are ways that students showed their demonstration of their understanding of the digestive system. So one student made an apron. Here, these students made a cake, and other students made a board game to show what they have learned. So here are some other experiences, water quality testing. So as you know, the Wake County area and surrounding counties are undergoing a lot of development of the area, and there's a lot of careful planning to avoid water quality issues. So to help students visualize this better, they take field trips to a nearby pond over on the SAS campus here, where they can get a firsthand appreciation of how appropriate measures help maintain good water quality, ensure adequate water movement as well through the area. So it's a culminating activity for this unit. Students design a venue of their choosing. So instead of Cary Academy, this is our map of our campus here. They come up with their own venue design, and they need to make sure that it's in harmony with the requirements for a sustainable development. Here's some pictures of the boat design project. And here is some of the data that went with their design, some of the calculations they do, and then finally the results as far as the speed and efficiency of the different designs of boats. So again, some of the things they've added are some realistic simulations. And this one, they were actually able to bring the syringe over and take a blood sample from different parts of the circulatory system, and then it would show on their screen what is in that particular blood sample and have the proportion of oxygen, carbon dioxide, blood sugar, and urea, et cetera. So great tools to enhance our learning. I just wanted to point out as well, another tool that we use is that each of us have our own online notebooks, from OneNote. So you can see I have the content library. This is my teacher notebook with all of the different sections and then the pages. And then the students would have their own notebooks. They could access my notes and I can access theirs in real time and give feedback. So this has been a great tool as well when we've had students learning virtually. In addition, we use Teams. So I'm able to communicate and we can make calls. I can post things these are some current event type postings. We can go into breakout rooms. Students also are using Zoom as well to be able to work with each other virtually, as well as with students in the classroom. So in-person collaboration with distancing is happening, but again, these students are actually working with students who are at home through either Zoom breakout rooms or through calls in Teams. So there's lots more information up on our caryacademy.org website. I'm just going to escape out of here so I can show you that real quickly. Looks like it closed my internet in the meantime, but that's okay. We'll just close that for now. And I'll look up caryacademy.org here. And if you come under CA Experience Middle School, all of the different department information will be up there. And if you come down a little, there we go. It's lagging a little, sorry about that. Getting some real life experience with virtual. There we go. Okay, so we have arts, language arts, mathematics, all of those are here, physical education and health. If you click on any of these and scroll down, you will get access to our curriculum guides. So come on down to the bottom and you'll be able to get the curriculum guide there. Go back to, there we go, slideshow. Okay, almost done. I appreciate all your time. Oops, I forgot. Here is my email address. Feel free to, if you have other questions that I did not cover in this presentation, I'd be happy to answer them. So thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. I hope that gave you an understanding of what we do in the middle school here with our science program. And again, if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to email me. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.